Everybody, I forgot to record, which happens more often than I'd like to say. So let me go over this real quick for those of you who missed it. Today is topic 6. We're doing binomial situations and sampling, and we're also talking about the test because I actually had a webinar last night, and in the webinar they told us a lot of new information about the test. So for marking period 4 grades, we got an email from downtown, and they're asking us to input total points only, no categories. So I'm getting rid of the test and quizzes category and making everything total points. So it's going to mess with your grades for a little bit. Please don't email me about your grade for the next week until I get everything straight. It's going to take me some time to reverse all the things that were on 100-point scale down to a single point scale. Don't forget, we're doing live classes every Monday and Wednesday for you guys. So make sure that if you're not able to attend the classes, you actually watch the videos. So, and your work has to be your own. Please don't copy work from anywhere else so that I know that you're actually understanding it or you're not understanding it. If you send in perfect work and it looks like you understand it better than I do, then I'm not going to work with you on things, and then you will miss that opportunity to actually get some stuff straight. All right, so binomial situations and sampling distributions. This is the old formula sheet, and this is the new formula sheet. I do believe I have the formula sheet up here somewhere. Let's see if I can find it. Maybe not. I know that I uploaded the formula sheet into your Google Classroom, so here it is here. And they want you to have this printed out on test day. This is the brand new 2020 formula sheet, so it's different from any other formula sheet I would have already handed you. And it also has all the stuff that you don't need cut out, which I think is invaluable because the old one has everything, all of the different tables, and this one only has what you need for the test. So I'm going to see if I can get Dr. Grove to print these for everybody. Okay, so this on the formula sheet has information on binomial and geometric distributions. It does not have this. On the formula sheet, you need to know that for a binomial distribution, you have 4 requirements. There has to be one of 2 possible outcomes, a success and a failure. The probability of the success P has to remain constant, so it doesn't change as you draw things. Trials are independent of one another. One trial doesn't affect another. And there's a fixed number of trials if you're binomial. Same of the binomials until you get to the number of trials. This time it counts the number of trials until the first success for geometric. So even though these 3 are the same, possible outcomes are 2, probability of success is constant, and trials are independent. For binomial, you have a fixed set of trials, and for geometric, you have counts until you get to the first success. So I did this problem. Let's say that Lexi makes a free throw and her probability of making it is 90%. What's the probability she makes exactly 2 of the 3? So exactly 2 is a probability density function. When you say exactly, it means we only have one number we're concerned about, and that's the number 2. So we say probability of X being exactly 2 is N choose X, 3 total shots, 2 successes. Probability of success is 0.9. To the power of how many successes you want. And the probability of failure, we called Q, but they call it 1 minus P, and that's got to be 10% so that these 2 add up to 1. To the difference of these 2 numbers, 3 minus 2, so that's to the first power. And you can do it in your calculator going to binomial CDF. Well, first let me show you how you do it using probability. So I would say 3 choose, you hit the math probability, number 3 choose 2, and that gives you 3. So I'm going to say 3 times 0.9 squared times 0.1. And by working it out by hand, I get 243 decimal. But if I did a probability density function, I would go to second vars, go up from the bottom, and use PDF for a single number, exact number, and say we had 3 trials. The probability of success was 0.9, and I want exactly 2 to be successful. And it also gives me 243. Okay, so when is a normal distribution appropriate? You can say that if you have a binomial distribution, it approaches a normal distribution as long as NP and NQ, remember 1 minus P is Q, as long as they are both greater than 10. So we say greater than or equal to 10. So we did a baby kangaroo thing. So let's say that The chance of surviving in a zoo is 70%. So that's P. And we're going to take 100 baby kangaroos and check and see what their survival, expected survival rate is. Well, mu is n times P, as we see in the formula sheet, and that's 100 times 0.70, or 70%. 70 out of 100 should survive. The standard deviation is NPQ, or NP 1 minus P. Remember, Q is 1 minus P, square rooted. So that's 100, 0.70, and 0.30. The two have to add up to 1, and I got 458. So now they're saying, let's use the normal distribution model instead of the binomial distribution and find the probability that at least 60 kangaroos survive. So we say from 60 on up are going to survive, and we need to have the mean and the standard deviation on the graph as well. So we do lower bound, upper bound, mean, sigma, and we got 0.9855. Okay, so you can read these to yourself. If a fair coin comes up heads 10 times in a row, what's the probability that the next flip is going to be heads? Remember, the coin does not remember what it did previously. It only knows that it has a 50% chance of coming up heads on every single flip. Now this one says, according to the National Telecommunications and Information Administration, 56.5% of US households owned a computer in 2001. What's the probability of 3 randomly selected households? At least 1. Okay, so now it's binomial because we fixed the trials n. And when we say at least 1, we mean it could be 1 or 2 or 3 are all successful. So we have to do this n choose x, p to the x, q to the n minus x 3 times. 1 for the number 1, 1 for 2, and 1 for 3. So it's 3 choose 1, 0.565 to the first, 435 to the second. 3 choose 2, 0.565 to the second. Remember, this number is always the exponent on the probability of success. And then these two have to add up to the total number of trials. And then this. And I got this number. Or you could say, okay, if I know that we're saying at least 1, that means the only number that doesn't count is 0. So what if I said 1 minus binomial CDF of 0? 1 minus the binomial CDF for 0 would give me the exact same number. And then let's say 4 randomly selected households all had internet. And if I choose 4 randomly, I want to know that all of them had it. That's a 4 choose 4 situation. Probability of success is 50.5. Failure is 0.495. So this number goes here. And the number I'd have to add to 4 to get 4 is 0. So, and then you can do that in your calculator as well. Which of these is a binomial model? We said that the number of people we have to survey until we find someone who has taken statistics is geometric, because we're looking for the first success. There is no such thing as looking for the first 2 successes, so that's neither geometric nor binomial. The number of people in a class of 25 who have taken statistics, so it's either yes I have or no I haven't, and it's a fixed number of trials, that is binomial. And each trial is independent, so one student's taking statistics should not have affected another student's, and the probability of success should stay constant. The reason this one isn't, ace is in a 5-card poker hand, is that the trials are not independent. Once you've picked an ace, now that affects the next probability of the next ace. Which is geometric, the number of people we find until we survey until we find somebody who has taken statistics. We've already answered that up above. And then you can look at this one. And then I've given you this quiz on walkers, but I just want to say I highlighted pink for binomial situations and yellow for geometric, and you can kind of follow along. So we took 4 people, that's the number of trials, and each of these situations works with a number of trials. Well, this one is if your first walker is the 4th person. Whenever you see your first is, that's geometric, because we're not setting it. We're saying, what about getting up to 4 people, but we don't know if it's a success. And then your expected value of x is always n times p for a binomial situation. And you should be able to follow the formulas. So at most means you can have 0, 1, 2, or 3, but you cannot have 4. And at least means you can have 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay, so there are 11 binomial geometric distribution questions. I did actually start the probability College Board questions as well because I was told I hadn't started those yet. You can practice the demo for the AP by going to the link in your Google Classroom that says verify e-ticket, and it will take you to something that looks like this. And we're going to put in the 8-character from the guide. I think it's, let me go to the guide. We're going to use, oops, don't look at that. Yeah, this is the guide. If I go to page 40, we're going to use this code, 56 WI 5024. 56 WI 5024. And I'm going to get started. It's going to ask me for my personal information. So this demo shows you what to expect on test day. So I actually have it pre-filled. I'm going to pretend I was born on January 1st, 2000. And I am testing from home, and I'm not giving College Board the rights to reproduce my work, but I am agreeing to the terms and conditions. So it's going to show you what your timer looks like. So you're supposed to fill in 30 minutes before the test starts. You're supposed to fill all this in so you're ready, and it'll count down until when the test starts. So once this time goes, we're going to be able to hit continue and actually get into the test. So while we're waiting for that timer, I want to go through some key stuff. So I have also uploaded the guide and the checklist, and they're in your Google Classroom. This is the guide. It's about 40-some pages. And this is the checklist. And the checklist tells you what to have on the day of. And I'm going to see if we can get this printed. Maybe Dr. Grove can print it and we can mail it to you guys so that you'll have this ready on test day. So the guide, there's some important things in the guide I want to talk about. All of this information is at cb.org back AP 2020. So if you want to go and get it yourself, you can, but it's already in the links. It talks about your e-ticket. It talks about important steps to take before exam day, and it talks about what to do on exam day, and then it talks about how you're going to get your scores and credit and placement. So 2 days before your test starts, our test starts on May 22nd, you're going to get your e-ticket. If you don't see it, you can also go get it at your myap.collegeboard.org site. Don't share it. It's unique to you and you only, and you should not have anybody else has the same number as you. So again, our test is 2 p.m. on Friday, May 22nd. If for any reason you cannot make that test day, that's fine. You will have a June 5th retake day. So make sure that you have that opportunity to take it on the right day. And if you miss it, you have one more day only. So they want to keep telling us that even if you're not done with the question and you're running out of time, they want you to submit whatever you have. Even if you're in the middle of a sentence and you're time to submit, go ahead and submit. They're saying you can get a score of 5 even if you haven't finished everything. So give whatever you've got by the time it's submit time. You can either copy and paste your response, you can attach a typed response, or you can handwrite a response on 8.5 by 11 page, photo it, copy it on your phone, and upload it from there. If you need a makeup because something happened, you'll go to cb.org, request makeup up to 48 hours after your test. So if you're not within 48 hours, you miss that makeup test. Here are the 5 things they want you to do. Review your contact information in collegeboard.org. Check your technology. Make sure you have everything you have in all your documents. Practice submitting a response, which we have done in College Board. Gather what you need for the exam and receive your exam confirmation and e-ticket emails. So do not let Grammarly run on your device. If you have a device and you're testing at collegeboard.org, on that day of the test, take off Grammarly, disable it. They said that it will not work with the software. When you do prepare your documents, if you're doing anything by hand or if you're typing, they want your AP ID and your initials. So mine would be LY and my AP ID would be whatever it is at the top of every page before I submit. And you get up to 5 pages for question 1 and up to 5 for question 2. We're practicing our response at AP Demo right now, and let me go back and see how that's looking. Oh, look, I have 24 seconds until my exam starts. So we'll come back in just a second. So on test day, make sure you have your e-ticket, your checklist, and your AP ID. Your device is fully charged and ready. Make sure your browser is either Chrome, Firefox, Safari, or Edge, not Internet Explorer. Make sure you have internet or cellular connection, and you won't need assistive technology. And then you can type it in Microsoft Word, Google Docs, Notes, or any other application and save it as a text file if you're typing. And you're allowed to have class notes and study guides, textbooks, and previous assignments that I have given you. And you can have a calculator, but they say you don't need it. You should also have your formula sheet and tables for this test only printed out. Here's something that they said. You can have these things, but what you don't want to do is internet searches. These are bad. Internet searches will waste your time, and you risk being in danger of plagiarizing. So if you copied something off the internet and it was word for word or was really close, they will have all kinds of security measures that can check for plagiarism. And if they catch you plagiarizing, they will report you to your schools and give you a 0. So on May 4th, you're going to receive a confirmation with your AP ID, but not your e-ticket. And then 2 days before the exam, you get your e-ticket. So I've uploaded the checklist. I'll see if I can get Dr. Grove to print it for you. Here's what exam day looks like. 30 minutes before you're going to do your check-in. And then when the question starts, which mine has probably started, I get 25 minutes to work on it and 5 minutes to upload it. And then once I've uploaded, that question is gone and I cannot go back to it. Then question 2 pops up and I'll get 15 minutes to work on it and 5 minutes to upload it. So please put your phones on Do Not Disturb so you can't get texts from friends, because those are going to be very distracting to you. Also, anybody playing Fortnite or streaming Netflix, that's got to stop while you're testing. You don't want anybody sucking up your bandwidth, so make sure nobody in your house is using things like streaming or gaming at the time you're testing. And they are monitoring social media sites, so if you try and go on social media and kick the question around and they see you on it, you will be in violation of plagiarism or cheating. So please don't do that. They're also going to share all your answers with me 2 days after the test so I can look and say, yep, that looks like my question, my student's type of work, or no, I think they copied from somewhere. Okay, and this is what it looks like when the exam starts. So if I go back, I bet you my exam has started, and I'm going to continue, and it's going to say, here's your question 1. Let's pretend this is a statistics question. I'm like, oh, I see what I'm expected to do. So I can either submit it by attaching or pasting. So let's say I am going to attach a response. So my test ID and my initials should be at the top of each page, and I'm going to attach either a text file or photos. So it's going to let me attach them here. And when I click this, it should open up to where are the files that you want to attach. And then, oh, browse for files. So let's say I just attached, that's not the right, I have to actually attach a text file. So where am I going to find a text file? Oh, I know, let me go to my desktop. I think a PDF is fine. So let me do a PDF of my Algebra 2 notes. Oh, look, I can submit. And once I hit submit, I cannot come back to this question. And then question 2 should pop up, and now it's telling me, oh, look, you have 6 minutes to finish question 2, and then the whole cycle is going to repeat. So I would really like you guys to practice this demo and make sure everything is kosher, and it actually gives you guidelines on everything within the demo. So I believe, and when it's time to submit, the clock turns red. When you're working, the clock will be black. Okay, so if anything happens, like your device crashes, your internet access goes out, or you accidentally close your browser, try clicking the exam and the e-ticket again. But if you have to request a makeup, you've got to do that within 48 hours. Running out of time is not a reason for a makeup. And your score should come on July 15th. Make sure by June 20th, you've told them which colleges you want your scores to go to. I think you get up to 5 free, and then you have to pay for anything over 5. Please remember Internet Explorer